Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Doom podcast. I am BigPapaGrump. That's CJTruth. There's Shez and Junior. All right. So, I guess to start out with, I'm progressively trying to make the intros worse and worse every time. Yeah. So I guess we have to hit the elephant in the room. CJTruth is the Board of Doom champion. There is talks of how often titles are going to be defended now that we actually have a belt. So, but we'll get into all that. That'll be future podcast stuff.
I just want to point out one thing.
Okay.
If Uppercut wasn't a moron and picked the celebrities like everybody knows they're going to win.
So it came down to McAfee.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so pissed.
Pretty fucked.
I'm so pissed because I went back and forth on that Omos match. And all I needed was that match. Had I got Omos, he wouldn't even have touched me after that point. It wouldn't have mattered because every pick was the same. I was like, what am I doing?
I just want to point out that, of course, Sean was Mr. WrestleMania this year. Just saying. Who went 11-3?
Who? Champ.
Congratulations.
I finished in last place for the first time ever. So, all right. So, yeah. So I guess, well, we'll start because we'll let the champ start because he wanted to touch on the Ring of Honor show that I'm pretty sure he's the only one of the group that watched.
I didn't even know it was
You guys didn't even watch the stuff on YouTube. They put the first hour on YouTube. Go back, watch it. If you were a Ring of Honor fan at any point in time, Tony Khan did a really, really solid job of paying homage to Ring of Honor. And it progressed storylines in AEW, which is fine, whatever. But top to bottom, to get guys showcased that they did. Dalton Castle comes out, looks solid in his match. Swerve looked good against whoever Swerve wrestled. It was Alex Zane. So it's worth it. And that tag team match between FTR and the Briscoes, holy God.
I heard it was great.
Is the ROH app still a thing?
Huh?
Like, are they using the ROH app still?
I don't know. That I'm not.
Okay.
You mean the Honor Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still using that.
Okay.
Yeah, because Tony's already said he's like, I'm not killing it. It's too much of a part of history, and we generated how many people? But the Wheeler Yuta match, Papa, watch that one because Wheeler looked phenomenal, and Josh the Goods Woods is the real deal. He's the real deal. The Grisham Bandito match, if you get a chance, check that out too, because you actually get Joe comes back. Lethal shows his heel side. It was a great show, top to bottom, and I think Tony did a very solid job of putting it together. And it was great to see Ian Rabiconi and Caprice Coleman back as your announcers. I hope they continue this and they allow this to build and make it a separate entity from. Sorry, that's the big dog bark. They make it a separate entity from AEW. If you want to send guys back and forth, fine, but let ROH be ROH and let AEW be AEW. Don't try to make ROH AEW light.
6 months, Jake Hager will be the champ. All right.
Never.
The
Gresham is really, really, really good. And that match against Bandito, from bell to bell, that was an outstanding match. And Bandito deserves all the credit that he gets as a luchador and as a wrestler. But man, he tore the house down.
Did you
He
say
really
you're
did.
back full time?
So
Back full time.
just wanted to touch on that. Hopefully,
All right.
if you guys check out the first hour on YouTube, it's worth it.
So we don't have a competition.
All right, I'll try to fit it in between my r/malicious compliance videos. All right, I've been watching a ton of those Reddit videos lately because like driving to and from like routes is another. Oh God, it's wife's fault. All right, so I guess the other thing that happened over the weekend was Stand and Deliver. And I gotta say, first of all,
Oh, that got stuck.
I did not have high expectations. Like I knew the matches were going to be good because of the people that were involved, but I was just kind of like, okay, is this going to be some thrown together show that they're just trying to squeeze in or whatever? But I thought it was a pretty good show. I thought most of the matches were good, even the kind of last minute pre-show match where they, took the belts off Toxic Attraction was still like a fun match for what it was.
It is.
But
I was surprised I was on the pre-show.
I was surprised it was on the show, period.
Well, it was supposed to be. They advertised it.
Yeah, but it was what, just like a couple days before?
Yeah, like the NXT before. They literally were like.
But
LA Knight is the real deal.
Dude, he steals McAfee's move. What a bum.
Listen, whether he's L.A. Knight or Eli Drake, that guy is fantastic promo, and I think his ring work has gotten even better with coming to NXT. I think he had great ring work in Impact, which is a wrestling company that runs on Thursdays, I've been told, but he's gotten way better since coming into NXT. I just think he's all around. I just hope the rumor coming out about him is not true.
Well, he's going to come up to the main roster as a manager?
Yes. I've heard that before. I think the guy's name was Budge, was supposed to come up, haircut, facial hair gone. I hope they don't do that. That's a waste of talent.
That is dumb.
If he's going to be the talky one of a faction, fine. But I think it would be a waste. He's too good in the ring to waste him on that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he's good on the mic. So I mean, yeah, sure, give him a microphone.
Right. But I think, like I said, I mean, even if you go back and you watch the Impact matches when he was the Legends, whatever title he held there, that doesn't matter.
Randomly make up titles.
Yeah. I think he was King of the Mountain is actually what he was at one point. But anyway, his in-ring work then versus now, I think he's gotten better now. It's just my personal opinion. I think he's more solid in the ring.
Well, plus he was wrestling Gunther. So
He didn't get carried though.
No, but I'm just saying, it's not like he can have a bad match against that guy.
That's true. It's just, but there's he definitely held his own, which was good because a lot of people could easily just sit back and get carried by Walter Gunther, but
it's like going back in time and it's being like, okay, well, we're going to give you a showcase match. We really hope you can shine through. Oh, by the way, your opponent is Bret Hart. He the type of performer that could walk a half comatose, coked out British Bulldog through a title match in the main event of a pay-per-view. Like that's what Walter does. I mean, not the coked out part, probably, but he's that good. So I mean, of course, I almost said Eli Drake. LA Knight's going to have a great match with him. That doesn't mean that doesn't like diminish what he did, but they put him in a showcase with Gunther, Walter, dude. So
yeah, and it wasn't a typical squash match like he does have. I mean, granted, yes, they've let Gunther matches last longer and give other guys offense, but you remember the classic matches with Walter was he just came out, destroyed everybody in like 5 minutes, was the end of the match. No, they let it go back and forth. They let both of them look good. And you can't say one carried the match. No, they both elevated each other's game and made that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that match was the match of the night on Stand and Deliver, or the afternoon, I guess technically.
I mean, yeah, the tag match was fun, but it was kind of wonky in spots. Yeah. I thought the Fatal 4-Way for the women's title was again fun but wonky in spots. God, I can't remember who. Well, yeah, but the ladder match was really, really good too.
Yeah, well, okay. So let me say this: it was the best showcase of two individual talents.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah. So fair enough. Anybody else got anything on Stand and Deliver?
I think you're underselling that Fatal 4-Way.
What, the women's match?
Yeah, I honestly,
I only caught highlights of it, so I can't speak on it. I know Raquel Gonzalez always looks like $1 million no matter what she's given.
We're not talking about the tag match. We're talking about the title match.
Oh, the title. Yeah, but he just said. Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, because it's just you saw, I don't know, like you put Mandy Rose in most situations where that's like, oh my god, okay, there's Kaylee Ray and there's Io, they're gonna carry that thing, and then Cora Jade could have her moments or whatever. But I don't know what it was, just like the match. It was weird because you had two of the best women on that roster, period, and then you would give the win to Mandy Rose clean. Like there was no toxic attraction, there was no literally anything. I mean, clean to an extent with a Fatal 4-Way.
It was sneaky hit. It was a sneaky heel win, but it wasn't dirty.
And she didn't look super out of place, which was weird because watching her matches like on the main roster versus now, it's like you would have never expected the person who could only go like 5 minutes to have a potential match of the night candidate. So I don't know. It was just I never.
But you got to think about it too. The only reason she went 5 minutes on the main roster is she got a bad rep from bad work early on.
Yeah.
With the Bellas and all that. And they never really saw her for more than what she was. I think, honestly, she reinvented herself. And when she went to NXT, I think this is like she's actually putting in the work because I think she's looked at like, hey, you're the leader of the locker room now. You know this business. You know this way. You need to teach these younger ones how to be a WWE superstar. But
I agree.
And you can't anytime Kaylee Ray is in the match.
Yeah.
Like
Kaylee Ray is a ride, like it's a ride.
Yeah. I mean, she made Piper Niven look like a superstar.
Shots.
I don't even know who that is.
Dewdrop.
There you go. Much better.
But I just think all in all, I think it was a fun Saturday afternoon, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and then we move on, obviously, to Saturday night.
Yeah. And they set the pace. I mean, they definitely were like, yo, WrestleMania night 1, you got to step up. So I dig it.
And step it up they did. WrestleMania night 1, I think, was for WWE. It was a tale of two nights for me, in that night 1 was about wrestling, like not necessarily like by intent, but the way the night played out, it was all about the wrestling, and night 2 was all about the sports entertainment.
I can see. Okay.
And I think both nights delivered on a fun, at times a little over the top in some of the stuff, but a very fun weekend. Probably one of the best WrestleManias in the modern WWE era. I'm not going to start comparing WrestleMania 38 to like WrestleMania 3 or anything like that, because you're eras and whatnot. But the Seth Cody match was a really good wrestling match. The Beth Bianca match was a really good wrestling. Like that was a good match. And I think even though I didn't get my picks right and all that, but I think that in most cases the right person won. In that moment. In most cases, you're not going to have that with every, but
no.
But over the weekend, I think the titles that changed hands probably should have changed hands. And the celebrities that won should have won, and because that, first of all, that Johnny Knoxville match with Sami Zayn was so much fun.
Yeah, it was wild.
Bro, Wee-Man slamming freaking Zayn.
The cameo from Mark Henry Mae Young's kid.
Yeah.
All grown up.
Yeah. His tweet about that was great.
I think the only title that didn't change hands, the big one obviously, would be the Rousey one. And I'm trying to understand the whole why we keep it on Flair thing. But I think there's two sides to that. I think it was partially Ronda's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll let her go over whatever, because Flair deserved it. She is the Bailey of 2021, because Bailey of 2020 was your all-star, and I think Flair carried you in 2021 with Bailey being injured and Banks being out and Becky taking time off. Flair carried that division for 2021.
Sure.
So give it to her. She deserves it. I still think that Rousey winning would have gotten you a bigger pop, unless you're going to have a longer payoff down the road.
I don't think she's connecting with the crowd, and that might be part of it too.
But is it because of her stupid comments and people?
Most likely.
Your long-term fans, yes, WrestleMania is the biggest event, blah, blah, blah. And it's for the casual fan. But your long-term fans, your big-time fans, are the ones that are paying to be front row, to pay to be in the lower bowl, whatever, because to them it's the biggest wrestling night in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Rousey, and I said this before on other videos that we've talked about Rousey, and what my personal issue with her is. You walked out because you wanted to have a child, and nobody's mad at you for that. But your comments after the fact and the way you blatantly attacked this business that we all love as fans, and that those guys and women bust their ass for this business, and because you're like, oh, well, I'm not getting really punched in the face. I could do this. I could do. First off, fine. Let's go call up Dana. Can we get Holly home for a night? Come in and kick her in the face again so she shuts the hell up. Or get Nunez to punch her in the face. Whatever. Her comments is what I think is a lot of the pushback, because people are like, wait a minute. Why should I
just thought it was more because when she came back, she was boring.
It was boring before she left.
Well, before she left, she would do the thing where she would kind of smile a little bit, hey, and then she was business, and then she was just Ronda badass, and she didn't really cut particularly long promos. She didn't really do all that. She was just like, can we sign this so I can fight her now? Like, that was kind of her whole thing, where it's like, can we do this now? But that was her first run. That was basically her entire gimmick, was like, okay. And she would cut an occasional promo or whatever. But this time around, she's cutting long promos. She's getting into it with Charlotte.
But if you look at her UFC career, even build up to her fights in UFC, she's never been a talker.
Right.
Never.
But now this time around, they had her be a talker. And right. I think it was an attempt to get her to reconnect with the fans, but it just exposed the fact that she's not a particularly compelling promo.
Right. I mean, I think the best promo she's ever cut that I've ever seen is when she said, you talked about my dad. I'm going to make you cry. I'm going to hurt you. when that Brazilian chick was talking trash on the fact that Ronda's that was the best promo she's ever cut, because it was literally not even 30 seconds, and she said, "I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to hurt you." Okay, fine, Ronda.
I just don't think, and for those of us who have seen the Expendables 3, I don't think she does well with scripts.
No.
Honestly,
and I'm not knocking her, because like I think she's really good in the ring, and I think her original run up until she started getting mad at the fans turning on her a little bit, instead of steering into that curve, she just or stealing, you know what I meant. She kind of tried to force her way back into the good graces by being angry about it, and it just didn't work out. And I think this time around they should have just been like, no, she just come back and just every time Charlotte talks, just punch her.
well, in all honesty, she needs a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
She needs a mouthpiece.
LA Knight in NXT waiting for her.
LA Knight.
Yeah.
In all, as much as it bothers me to say it, there's only one guy in WWE right now that should be given that position.
And he's not doing anything. His name's Elias.
Wrong. It's the Walrus, Paul Heyman. Heyman is the one.
Yeah, we knew where you were going.
Heyman could get her over better than anybody else.
Yep, 100%.
And I think the other option, I mean, the only other option besides that would be LA Knight. But LA Knight's a fun guy. You know what I mean? I just don't think I think the fans would be more invested in him than in Rousey.
And
Yeah.
Because just of how his character is. It is what it is. But I honestly think Rousey, I still am trying to understand the whole keeping the title on Charlotte. I don't know if it was Vince was like, hey, this just isn't working, so let's reboot it. Let's rerun it. Maybe that's what his decision was. But that was the one title that it just caught me off guard when it didn't change hands. Shez, what was your match of night one?
Becky and Bianca.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good match. The only thing I think my only nitpick was the way Bianca got into the ring to beat the 10 count. It just felt a little like I get the last reserve energy sort of thing. It just didn't play like that when she did it. That's probably my only nitpick out of the match, and it's something I can easily ignore. Other than that, it's one of the better WrestleMania matches that I've seen. Period. It was really good.
I think she's legit.
Yeah,
That's twice in a row, basically, that Bianca had a killer match last year and this year.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely grown into. I don't even think they realized how much she was going to be a star.
Right.
As she came up from NXT.
Right.
She was only down there for what, 6 months?
Yeah, it wasn't long.
Not that long. She had a couple high profile matches, but she's hands down. She's probably one of my favorite on the entire roster.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from Bianca, but I just don't want to make it one-sided. Becky did a lot of really good, like, just heel work in that match. Everything from facial expressions to the way you like her, like just selling for Bianca. So like, you know, you could tell even like Becky is on board with how good Bianca is, and for her to, and it seems like everybody does that because, you know, they're all on board with, you know, where she is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the other part too, and I know Goldie hates on Becky a lot. And well, she's not together.
Hates on Sasha more, but yeah.
That's true. Which is even more undeserving.
But I think Becky finally, on the heel side of it, she's finally caught her ground solidly as a heel, because the man was a face, obviously, the whole time. But I think she's finally caught ground solid as a heel, and I think this is probably the best work she's done.
Mm-hmm.
The man is that's just a whole different level. Like I don't know if anybody could touch that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and plus, if you remember when that started, she was a heel,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fans bought it, and they were like, "Well, this is too good. We can't let this slip away."
Right.
Which is where I think a lot of the Stone Cold comparisons came in, is that the Stone Cold Steve Austin was a heel,
right?
And the fans turned him face.
Yeah, with when he did the Austin 316, that was original.
And then from there were good matches even after that. So, plus, I think Owen almost killing him helped a little bit in the fans' appreciation for him as well.
Man,
I mean,
something with that match. They could have had Kevin Owens be the ultimate heel. I'm telling you.
Well, I think they too. I mean, how soon did they drop that on Stone Cold's plate? Like, hey, we need you to be ready for WrestleMania to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that was months out.
Well, but he hasn't worked in 19 years.
No, yeah.
And between the knees and the neck, you got to be real, real careful.
He literally went Sting mode too. He just went, all right, dude, I'm just gonna, here you go, best match of the night, have fun. Like, what the?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it there. Because we had 2 doses of Stone Cold over the weekend.
Yep.
And I think a lot of us were thinking that it was going to end up being some sort of physicality. Like it wasn't really much of a secret on that. But I don't think any of us thought that not only was it going to be a match, but it was going to be like almost 10 minutes long or whatever.
It was 15. It was like 15 something or like 14 something.
And then, the longest match of the night, I forget what it was. I think was that Cody and Seth, or
probably.
Yeah, night 1-0 probably.
But we'll get to them in a minute. But he was taking like legit bumps.
Yeah.
Like I was getting worried. It was like, Kev, please don't kill Stone Cold. I want to wear my own shirt.
I'm telling you, the heel move would have been to drop him on his neck.
But
I'm sure Steve would have really done that. Yeah.
But
that's what I'll do at 57.
But it was a but that was again another super fun match. Send the crowd home happy. Owens got what he wanted, which was he got the main event WrestleMania, and he got to do it against one of his heroes. So he was loving it. I don't think he would have been like, I don't care if you squash me. I don't care if you hit me with one stunner and pour a gallon of beer on me.
Right.
He's sharing the ring with Stone Cold, but then he actually got to wrestle him.
Yeah.
Did you see the Twitter video from the night before, or like the morning of, from Kevin Owens? He's sitting in the corner, like he was obviously in a ring working out, running ropes, stuff like that. And he sat in the corner and he was talking about WrestleMania. And he said, I'm main eventing WrestleMania. I'm main eventing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he actually got teary-eyed. Like you could see it building up.
I believe it.
Just how much it really meant to him.
Sure.
One, that was what he was doing. But 2, you can't deny, and anybody that says KO does not love this business is retarded.
No question.
Every single thing he does is for that business. And you can tell genuinely loves what he's doing. And this is probably the best he's been since he's been on the main roster. He just,
I don't know with Jericho. I'll argue the era with Jericho.
The Jericho era.
Point taken. Yeah. And plus, let's not undersell that not only did KO get to wrestle with him, but Stone Cold trusted KO enough to bump for him.
Yeah. Absolutely. That says a lot. That says a ton. Absolutely.
So,
What
yeah.
about the tag match? The tag champ match, the Raw one.
The Raw one? Oh, that was
RK Bro.
Uh,
I was actually surprised. I really thought there was going to be some kind of heel turn.
Oh yeah, with the I thought the match was good. I thought it was a little shorter than a triple threat like that should have been. I love I'm with Junior on this. I love the fact that they had all three in the ring instead of just have I think all triple threat tag team matches should be like that.
They did that twice. They did that with the Imperium MSK one, and then they did that with those guys.
I always thought that was. It just makes more sense.
Oh
Right.
yeah, and
It does.
I think it's way better. I hate
logic.
the tagging thing.
Yeah.
Right. I will say that I think they did a good job of rolling out Gable Stevenson too. I think the way they did it to introduce him in, because where else could you have introduced him in over the weekend? Yes, you had Steph come out. This is Gable Stevenson. He's a gold medalist. Yay.
Right.
But where else can you get him physically involved in something? And I think that was literally the best spot to put him in, because you're working him with Chad Gable, who is wildly underrated and wildly underappreciated.
Absolutely. He's doing such a great job. You know, and I was so upset with the whole Shorty G thing from before. And
What? What are you talking about? That was an amazing gimmick for an Olympic wrestler.
And it's just nice to see. It's just nice to sort of let people's, their characters just sort of come out. Just let them do what they do, and let them figure it out. And the shoosh thing and the thank you.
That is by far my favorite thing, right? Shoosh. It's just, the way he does it is so great.
It's great.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So I like those guys as a team in general. And it was a good match. Yeah, I wish it was longer. Yeah, I thought that one was going to have a lot more fun. I mean, there were some great spots in it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, the ending was great.
The ending was great.
Oh my God!
RKO off the top rope, middle rope, I guess technically.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was great.
That was top rope.
Was okay? Whatever.
He
jumped with him from the top.
Yeah, they called it for RKO is what they were referring to.
But then you have, but on the flip side, I guess in the middle, you had the Usos match that opened, because WrestleMania was bookended by successful Bloodline title defenses or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Match got robbed just because of what happened.
Yeah, and it's sad to see what happened to Boogs, and
like I think it was Kevin that said or Goldenwood said he was like, yeah, look, this dude like benches or like squats like triple that. It just it was a freak.
It was that freak thing. It was
but if you go back and look at when, just to show how this can just randomly happen, probably the two most famous quad tears that I could think of was Triple H, and he did it while running. Like I think he did it during an Irish whip, if I remember correctly. And then Vince blew both of his out, walking out to yell at Batista and Cena.
Yeah, that was nuts.
It was nuts. No, I mean, I think Boogs is going to come back better. And I actually was kind of upset because he literally just did that exact same spot on SmackDown.
Yeah.
He literally 2 days before, whatever, or the night before, whatever you want, whatever. But he'll come back bigger, better than he was.
Mm-hmm.
I just really hope that Shinsuke does not get lost in the mix.
Right.
Because Shinsuke is way too good to not be utilized.
This guy do something with them, but I don't know what they do.
Or as Vince refers to him, male Oscar.
Yeah. But should we address how utterly robbed the New Day got with their
perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. I like that respect of it.
No.
First of all, I do like the idea that Butch has rabies.
That's pretty funny. Dude's got ADHD and he needs to be chilled.
Like, but that was really the only takeaway, was that the match was super short, and apparently Pete Dunne now has rabies, and
Right.
so it's just.
I don't understand what the concept of that was even supposed to be. Like, you hyped up the whole for Big E thing, and then they got squashed.
They got
Like, what the-
squashed. Like
Well,
you
that
can
was-
lose.
that was due
It's
to
okay
time.
if you lose it, but
Yeah.
like-
It was 3 minutes, and like they both looked kind of weird because in the singlet it just didn't work for those two. So I get why they did it, but they just looked goofy and then lost in like 3.5 minutes. Like I was like, what was the?
That was one
No,
match.
it was under 2 minutes.
That was one match where literally I sat there and I was like, and why did I go against my gut? Because I literally had those two picked. I had Ridge and Sheamus picked to win the match. And then I was like, but it just makes sense. Your argument on the last video, it just makes sense. The Big E feel good moments. So I'm like,
Right.
And they played the neck break spot on the thing so many times.
It was
Yeah.
part of the build in the big get package. Like what?
All right. I'm done with them.
I guess Big E and Xavier can win for Kofi, but Kofi and Xavier can't win for Big E. That's what I take away from that, basically.
Let's talk. Well, actually, before we get into the celebrity matches, let's talk about the weirdness that was a really good match in Edge and AJ. Because
wrong winner. I get what happened. I understand, but wrong.
Okay, well, anytime AJ loses, like this side of the screen is going to be mad anyway.
It's not even that.
This side.
Hold on. It's just. I get it. He turns heel. He's building the Dark Order of, like, Ministry of Darkness 2, whatever.
House of Black.
Evil Smurfs. We're gonna find.
It just made too much sense for Edge to win, and I hate it. And I hate it.
You do realize at the end of all this that Edge is gonna come out and we're gonna all find out that he's actually Gargamel. he's turned the Smurfs against the world. That's what's gonna happen at the end of all this.
So a priest is Azrael? What?
Yeah.
If this doesn't result in
First of all, let's talk about the fact that I remembered the name of the cat from the Smurfs.
I was about to say, I'm giving you a lot of credit there because wow, I had to think about who it was when you said it. I was like, oh, that's
this
the
doesn't
cat.
result in Damian Priest becoming the unified World Heavyweight Universal Champion, I will still say it's the wrong outcome.
For who? For Damian Priest.
Yep, if he doesn't, because he followed the message. If he doesn't win the world title, what the?
It really bothers me to admit to some aspects of this, but God, Edge is such a great character from top to bottom.
Oh my!
Yeah.
He was great as the Rated R superstar. He was great as a part of the Brood. He was great. Literally, I don't think this guy can do bad work.
Yeah,
I half question if they couldn't give him the Evolution gimmick and say, hey, we had this thing with Emma. We were trying to make it work. It didn't work. Can you go do that? He'd probably do it and knock
Probably
out
pull it off, right?
Yeah, no, I get you.
Like he'd come out as the male model, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I can believe that." Yeah,
Whatever. I can see it.
but no, I mean, I hope to God they're not done. I don't want to see this just be Edge and Damian Priest. I don't.
Oh no, I heard there's a rumor that they're gonna add Rhea Ripley. There's a rumor. There's somebody else has a rumor too.
Ciampa, but there's also a rumor
yeah.
that Ciampa. But there's a rumor that Ciampa's contract ran out at WrestleMania on the weekend, so you might never see it. That was the whole Triple H hugging him on the stage. The rumor is that his contract had ended that night and he's going to be gone.
Enough.
That he maxed out just like Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole.
I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer. So this is why I shouldn't listen to Busted Open. But Tommy Dreamer's the one that kind of is like, it didn't feel right. There's something not right here. Me personally, I think that.
Okay, you went with Busted Open, you get muted.
Nice.
David LaGreca's a wrestling knowledge. He has so much. He's just amazing. I love David LaGreca.
Oh man.
That's heat, brother.
Said
All right,
one.
so let's talk about the celebrities. Well, I guess we'll start with Logan Paul. Like, you know
My
what?
favorite.
That dude looked damn good.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Did you hear what Vince said to him after the match?
No.
He
That's
said
some
you
good
belong.
shit.
He said you belong here. Logan
Well,
Paul.
they were trying to get him for a writing job.
Well, no, but like Vince said after the match, I guess he was one of the first people that met Logan backstage. And he looked at Logan Paul and he said, wow, that was amazing. You belong here.
First
And
of all,
listen, I hate the Paul brothers. I hate them. And I didn't think he would perform to the level he did. I figured I was putting him up against Bad Bunny. And I'm like, yeah, you're not stacking up, dude. Okay. He
did his thing.
I think the
might-
best part about all of this was Miz's face turn at the end. I really enjoyed that.
you know what? No, my favorite part of the entire match, besides I just have got a sick fixation with watching people beat up Dominic, is the when Logan did the Three Amigos.
It was great.
Yeah.
That was
That was cool.
hilarious, and
Yep.
it looked good
Yeah, he did a great job. He really did.
Why do you hate Eddie Guerrero's son so much?
because he can't do the Three Amigos as good as Logan Paul,
But that's
and it's genetic.
Exactly.
Sorry,
He-
puppy. So anyway, so Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn.
Fun.
I know we
That's-
touched on it a little bit earlier. First of all, I think the match was probably longer than it needed to be, but
Yeah.
they didn't really waste a whole lot of like there was not a lot of like dead space in that match.
No. I think
Like,
my favorite part was just Sami Zayn and Luva kicking him immediately and then
That
just
was
trap
great.
talking him.
Yeah,
Right.
that was great. Well, I didn't think Knoxville was going to hold it. Now, granted, Knoxville didn't take a whole lot of crazy bumps. He took
Mhm.
a whole lot of standard bumps, which for a dude with his inevitable, like, CTE issues,
Yeah.
like,
his bump
that
card
was the
already full.
safest route to go.
As long as you get all of them before 50, you're fine, and he's 49.
But he's okay.
He died. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he gone. But but that was a lot of fun. I still
yeah.
don't quite understand the table with the mouse traps on it. Like I understand the concept, but the execution was a little goofy. But it still ended up being a fun spot.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was-
Johnny Knoxville not being able to get the mouse trap to work and still been like, oh yeah, well, bloop, and almost killing Sammy.
That
It was
was funny.
tremendous.
Sorry,
Oh,
my
man.
dogs don't want to cooperate tonight, so I had to move.
I gotcha. So, all right. No, did anybody else want to add anything to that bit? Because I'm just itching to get the McAfee.
Wee
Yeah.
Man is amazing.
I mean, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, the bowling ball spot was funny.
Freaking
I still hate Party
freaking
Boy.
party. Yeah, freaking out about Party Boy.
I hate Party Boy. That's the one thing we can take away from that entire match is I still hate Chris Pontius with a passion. I hated him then. I still hate him now. If it isn't Steve-O, it's not right. And that's where I end that. Begin with
Okay.
McAfee.
So let's bring it back down to and I just wanted to get that in. McAfee and
Theory.
it doesn't matter who he wrestled. Who cares? He just looked amazing.
Dude, he literally
But-
almost stole the damn weekend. Like, I ain't gonna lie.
But the vertical leap that guy has
Yeah.
consistently, Like, this isn't the first time he's done it. This is like the third, fourth, fifth time. But he misses the spot. He goes back. He goes right back up and does it again. You know what? Hey, 95% of guys would have been like, oh, crap, what do I do?
Right.
Especially not regular wrestlers.
Yep.
Logan Paul does that spot and messes up. He goes,
Right.
McAfee made it look like, okay, fine, I messed up. Don't worry about it. I'm coming right back at you.
Mm-hmm.
He has got to wrestle really, really talented guys.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even they make him look that good. He really makes himself look that good.
He's a star, man. He really is.
He-
He's a legit star.
If that dude decided to walk away from commentary, I'm saying it right now. If he's not a champ within 6 months, you're wrong. You're wrong.
If you let that guy have a full-time wrestling schedule, that guy, he's excellent. He really is. He gets wrestling. Like, he gets the wrestling part of it and the mic presence part of it, whether it's announcing, whether it's promo, whether it's the moving the crowd. He knows everything about what to do. He knows all.
But he's been showcasing this for years.
Yeah.
In the NFL, he showcased it.
He did. Absolutely.
What other punter after they down it within inside the 5 does the swag walk on the side? What other punter's throwing themselves with all abandon at a dude that's running full speed on this top and then gets up and taunts him because he did a badass tackle?
Right.
McAfee is a whole different level of athlete. And if there was any chance that dude would ever be a full-time wrestler, take my money. Take my money. I main event every pay-per-view. There's no reason he shouldn't.
Yeah, he's remarkable. He's really, really good. Like, he's so good, you just forget that, like, man, this guy is actually a world-class athlete. You just sort of don't think about it, but he's really good. And just because you're a world-class athlete doesn't mean you can be a good wrestler. And he happens to be both. So, he checks all the boxes.
The only thing that I didn't throw back to the Adam Cole match, they played the punter thing up really, really well.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad to see him kind of drifting away from it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But if he's gonna wrestle any more matches, I do want them to realize that right leg makes something happen with that right leg. Make that.
Well, he went for it in the match and in theory ducked it. So he did kind of call back to it.
But I mean, if anybody's going to have like a leg kick finisher, if it's not Black Mass, like McAfee just needs to have it. Whatever you want McAfee to do kicking wise, just have McAfee do it because he's literally going to kick somebody's head off their shoulders. And I'm all about that.
And first of all, can we stop and appreciate the entrance punt?
Yeah.
Because that was a damn good. I was like, he still got it. And by the way, one last thing, just about McAfee in general, his callback where he was like, during the New Day match where he was talking about Butch, he was like, I know that guy. Trust me, he's this. I was like, it's a callback to the NXT feud.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and listen, not for nothing. I wouldn't have said it 5 years ago because I just wasn't. McAfee was just a loudmouth back then.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, he's as a person, as a commentator, as a radio host, podcast host, whatever you want to say. Dude, that guy's really, really grown on me.
Yeah, he's great.
Really grown on me over the last 1.5 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Really has. I mean, he's my second favorite football player that loves wrestling.
So,
Wait.
I guess.
Wait, who's the first?
George Kittle.
Oh, okay.
I understand. It's going to be George Kittle. The answer is always George Kittle.
I forgot about that aspect. My bad.
Yeah, I completely. His bit on the pre-show was forgettable too.
That's not even fair. That's
And
not
he
even fair.
He
That was
lied. He
So-
said Seth Rollins' favorite wrestler. But then
Speaking of Seth Rollins, I guess we need to talk about the huge surprise that Cody Rhodes is back.
I can't believe it.
That was nuts. I can't believe
The-
they pulled that off.
Although
The-
I did enjoy the pop. You know,
Yeah.
I thought it was nice. I did enjoy that they did the entrance, you know, with the
Yeah.
And that-
stage.
That's what I'm really happy about. I'm happy they let him do the American Nightmare stuff. And I'm glad because he's talked about it since the debut. And he said this was part of the deal. I bring back American Nightmare. I keep what I am today and I'm bringing it to your product. And like Papa, we talked about it when we got the belt. Vince was like, if it ain't broke, why I'm not gonna fix it.
Right. That's what we're paying
That
for.
makes me more at ease about it because the fact that they went like, oh yeah, no, that we're buying American Nightmare. That's what we want.
Right.
That leads me to my argument of everybody that was afraid because Cody Rhodes is coming back. There's one, and it's unfortunately only one right now, but Drew McIntyre. He left, you know, was like a joke. Came back.
Bobby
And Lash. That's so then you have two
too.
that you can use the argument. And now that it's like, yeah, we were buying what you did in AEW because that's what we liked. That makes me a little more at ease. And multi-year deal was scary when he said it, but
and listen, and if we're gonna touch on that match, I need to touch on the promo from Raw because that was a tearjerker.
Yeah,
And
it was real.
Plenty of times where the raw emotion that he put in that wasn't scripted. That was not a scripted promo. That was here's a hot mic, go do it. And that picture of Dusty, I remember my dad had one of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and it had that picture. And it said about Dusty didn't win because he lost by count out on that. And I remember that exact picture. And it was like, holy crap, man. This is like, I genuinely appreciate the fact that Vince is actually giving him a chance to do something that we all believe should have been done decades ago. Dusty should have won the title decades ago.
So I guess that brings us to the I guess the main event of the entire weekend, which was the we don't know what a unification match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And you know what?
it was.
I know we've seen that match 8 billion times,
Sure.
but I thought it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like the same spots they always do. Like,
But
Yeah, but they did them in a different order.
story was
oh yeah,
the
crazy.
story was different. The story was different.
That's
And that part that because every other match, it was Brock heel, Roman face. Whether we liked Roman as a face or not, that didn't matter. It was Roman
That's what it
face,
was. Yeah.
Brock heel. To have those flipped. But did anybody else catch on to the fact that in this feud, if you want to call it a feud, the heel has gone over more times than the face.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah, it made me
And
somewhat
that
worried,
I appreciated it.
but I'm glad they pulled the trigger the way they did. I also did. I understood. Like I was confused because the ending was like, "What the heck?" But him dislocating his shoulder, that makes more sense now. Like it was rushed. I get that.
That was confirmed because I didn't get to watch the match. I only watched the highlights because I'm a terrible person.
Doesn't shock.
I'm not gonna deny I'm a terrible person because I didn't watch the match. But somebody said that he looked at Paul and said, "It's out. It's out."
It's
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, it was
It's
pretty
out,
audible. Yeah.
So did he put it back in and finish the match? Did they?
Probably.
I think he did put it back in. I don't know if he did it during the match or not, or if it was after.
Well, I guarantee you one thing. As great as Brock Lesnar is of a provider, I'm sure he said, "All right, kid, I got you. I'll take it."
Yeah, because it felt like when it ended, I was like, "Whoa, that was."
Yeah. No, me too. I was like, what the what?
Yeah. And Brock, and obviously, we're going to sit down and have to talk about Brock being is he one of the greatest of all time?
That's actually on tap for next week.
Nice.
And listen, again,
Finally.
how many other people in that spot would have reacted and made it seem as smooth of a transition as what he does?
Yeah.
I mean, Angle,
There's few. There's very few.
yeah, Angle, Michaels, Hart. I
Right.
mean,
Talking
if
top
you-
tier, right?
right.
Mhm.
There's a list. There's a list, but it's
It's a
It's
high-level
not
list.
the king
it's
of
a
all.
tight knit list.
Yeah. It's a who's who type of list, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say this. I think on that match, we all knew who was going to win.
Right.
All right. That was never a question.
It was unanimous on the board.
Yep.
But the way they did it was the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
It was
agree.
done the right way.
Yeah.
Where Brock doesn't look overly weak,
Yep.
but Reigns looks like he's the top dog and the big dog of the whatever.
Yep.
We don't use that anymore. He's the tribal chief. But Brock doesn't get any loss of anything with taking the L for that match. Because he's still Brock Lesnar, and the
Right.
way they played it off was perfect.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think I do think, however, I do want to point this out because we skipped it. The biggest takeaway of the weekend was Drew McIntyre's like a guy kicked out of the most protected finisher in all of wrestling.
That he did.
Yeah.
And then gets angry and destroys the ring. What are you so mad
And
about?
then he
Yeah,
broke
he's
the
so
ring.
angry. Why
What
are
are
you
you
so
so
you
mad
won?
about? You
You
kicked
won the
out
match. Why are you so mad?
Why are you trying to commit murder in front of 70 some odd thousand people?
What did Angela ever do to deserve that kind of a treatment?
Like, Drew, I've been meaning to talk to you. You may want to lay low for a while. Killed a guy with a trident.
No, I mean it all in all, top to bottom, it felt like a very rushed WrestleMania, but it definitely lived up to what WrestleMania should be.
Yep.
Yeah, they showed up. I'm
They
very
did.
glad that they still pulled that out. If they have that energy every pay-per-view, even like their small ones, it would be a great product every time. They're not going
Yeah.
to, but it
No.
was fantastic to see that like one of the worst built WrestleManias turned out to be probably one of my favorite in recent memory.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, and
Great
the other
call.
part is if they would give 55, 60% of that energy on Monday night and on Friday nights,
Mhm.
your fan base is going to come back because you're losing them. WrestleMania might have saved you for a little bit, but if you don't step it back up, it's still the same crap.
They ruined it with Raw though, because Raw sucked. Like I'm sorry, beer was there, cool, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that
but-
was one of the worst Raw after Manias. You know,
Because they
be-
had the energy, like from the crowd. It's just
Yeah.
they gave them nothing. I don't.
Yeah.
But if you look at the last 3 years, okay, over the last 3 years, the Raw after WrestleMania, there have been no major call-ups. There have been no major debuts. There have been no major anything.
Man.
It
Hey, we had an
they-
NXT title change on this one.
right. But, okay, first off, but that was a title that should have never changed. Like that shouldn't have happened. That was stupid. I get why you did it because you wanted Braun and Gunther to send Gunther off. Okay, whatever. But it's not the same way it used to be. It's not, and that's sad.
All right. So, all right, that'll be it for us this week because we're out of time. Next week, the plan is to finally do the I'll tell the story next week, but basically what started this whole sort of Zoomcast, where we think Brock Lesnar is now, especially after he lost, he's probably gonna be gone for a little while. Where he is Brock Lesnar an all-time great? That's going to be the topic for next week. So, along with probably complaining about Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, so hey, we managed to make it through an entire podcast without AEW talk. So that's a thing. It takes
Although there was-
WrestleMania to do it. So
I mean, Fox FTR 2 is okay.
Yeah. Actually, that was a really good match. So, all right. Well, thanks for ruining it.
Joe.
All
I
I,
had
Joe.
to.
Joe.
all I want to know is, did you acknowledge him today?
No,
All right. So,
it ain't gonna
Big
last
Papa
long.
Grump,
Acknowledge
uh,
the top
there's-
dog.
Shez, there's Junior, and that's dipshit. Bye.
Top Percent will have it soon. Don't worry.
Never. It's my belt. I will never lose my belt.